Right, so let's see how that turned out. So that's working fine. Yeah, I'm just looking at, I don't want any kind of floating body parts, where with one part gets activated. I like how they just become sand. That's pretty cool there, how it just kind of getting flopped into the floor. So it's like the fact that he's turning into sand is what's making him fall down there at the end, which is cool. We get a nice bit of animation with the simulation at the same time. Same here, we get it gradually going down, got the legs together, and then they collapse. So that's really cool. A few things I want to address. So I'd like to add a bit of wind to this. So something you can see that arm's kind of staying together as it's coming away. So I want to add some wind in the simulation to move the particles around while they're in the air, not on the floor. A bit of drag as well is always good with particle simulation. And we're going to start bumping this up to a higher resolution as well. So maybe first of all, let's push this resolution up to our final. Obviously, as per usual, this depends on what you're using. I'm not going to push it up to crazy values. I'm going to go to, let's see, 0.03. So this does take a bit of time, by the way. So it's this jitter scale that takes a while. What you could do is just turn that off, go to start kind of pushing it up, and then turn that off, because it's much quicker without. There's 800. I want to go a bit over 1 million, I think, or a few million. Should be fine. So there I've got about 4 million, just under 4 million. So that's pretty good. We will be using, if we come up here to grains, we'll be doing an uprez on this, so they'll get smaller again. I'm going to go to, I think, 10 times this again. So in terms of the actual scale, a good, if you think about, if you go to a finger there and think about that being each of these, there's going to be 10 grains of sand per grain there. So it's not far off the right scale. So that's fine. And then I'm going to turn on the jitter scale. It's going to take a bit of time to go through, so we'll just wait for that. There we go. So that's all done. Just press spacebar and F. So that was a couple of minutes there just to run that. So, but luckily it only has to be done once. However, the point deform does get quite slow now that we've got so many points here. Okay, we're sampling the position of lots of points and moving them around and stuff, and then that's going to be happening 10, or actually I'm going to push this up steps to 20, so it's going to be happening 20 times per frame, and then the simulation on top. So it gets really slow. So I'm going to cache this source under here. Okay. And I'm gonna set this to, we can do it in sim, I think. Yeah, let's do it in there. Okay, and we'll do grain source dot, important to have $f3 dot video accept. One thing you can do is set your substeps to be the same as what's in the DOPNet. So this is going to be give us something per frame, and if we have more substeps, the solver is going to be looking for information which isn't there. However, what we're going to do is just do a time blend and kind of interpolate between those frames. More accurately, what you can do is put substeps here, but that's really, there's no benefit in doing that, because we're just saving out, the time spent doing this is the same time that we'll spend on simulation. It could be beneficial because you can play around with its solver a bit more, but I found it was okay by doing the time blend. So 72 frames, $3, that's all fine. I'm going to click load from disk now, save that to disk, and then we'll take it from there.